Hi, gun people. Well, look, this guy's a vet, wounded warrior. I get what he's trying to do, and I get that he's fed up and frustrated, but I'm going to tell him why his tactics aren't real effective. So let's take a look at this.
How are you, sir?
Been better.
Why's that?
I got pulled over for no reason.
Okay. Well, it's not no reason.
What?
Well, when you tell a cop as soon as he gets there that you're pulled over for no reason, before you even know what the reason he's going to tell you is, I mean, you set a tone for the traffic stop. Now, I get the guy's frustrated and he thinks it's bullshit. And I think the stop may be bullshit. But that doesn't make it less legitimate. Unfortunately, we got so many damn vehicle laws, it's easy to pull anybody over for anything. So the cop's saying he couldn't see his license plate. And again, this is just cops who are bored. They're out fishing. They don't have anything to do. This guy's a park ranger. And they decide to stop anybody for anything in the hope of fishing. And until it's addressed to stop this shit, cops are going to keep harassing everybody they can to create revenue, to try and find something else wrong because there's nothing wrong. And here we go.
Why's that?
Okay. Well, I couldn't see your license plate because of the tint in
So
your
no
windshield.
reason.
No, that's not no reason. How's that no reason?
Because you couldn't see it, now you do, and now it's there, and I got pulled over. I'm completely legitimate. I am a Texas registered, that tint's legal in Texas, everything's legit. I got pulled over for no reason.
Okay, so he's in a different state with Texas plates. That could be why he's pulled over. That may be why this cop has a little hissy fit. Well, you're moving your hands around. It's making me nervous. Well, I can't help that you get nervous, okay? It may make me nervous to pull over people with tattoos or with bald heads or women who freaking with purple hair. That may make me nervous. It doesn't mean I can act on it and start infringing on your rights because I'm nervous. But we'll get to that.
No, it's not a no reason. I didn't see it. I see it now that I
So
can
you're
walk
incorrect.
up to the car.
Okay, so now I got
Okay.
pulled over, and you were erroneous.
I'm not erroneous. My pulling you over was correct. But now that I'm up this close, I can
Now you see how you were incorrect.
Okay.
Am I free to go?
No, can I take a look at your driver's
Nope,
license real quick?
I don't consent.
Okay.
There's no legal reason for you to pull me over. You can keep walking, man. Am I free to go?
Okay, so the guy's got the right attitude as far as I don't consent and I don't, approve of this stop. However, he's wrong in the law because when a cop stops you, even if the cop is wrong, you have to comply. Now, I keep getting people coming here, Rick, the Supreme Court and federal court and the federal law says you have a right to resist and you can use deadly force if a cop's making an unlawful arrest. If you use force against government, you are going to go to jail. You are going to spend time in jail. You're going to get charged with felonies. You're going to lose your guns either temporarily or permanently. You're going to have to spend a lot of money in court costs, and you can keep running around the internet telling everybody, but it's the law, and you can't. If you fight with the cops, you're going to go to jail. You're going to lose. Even if they're wrong, you lose. Okay? I mean, it kind of goes back to Confucius says only a fool burns down his house to catch a burglar. You may catch the burglar, but now you don't have a place to live. So you're running around saying, well, it's the law and I was right. Okay, great. Now you're in jail. You're out of a lot of money. You've lost your freedom. You've lost your ability to have guns. You've got a whole bunch more problems. You have to deal with the system. You're caught in a bureaucracy and you're getting screwed every day with court appearances. And if you miss one step, they're going to charge you with something else. But Rick, is the law, and you just know what. Oh, all right, whatever, dude. I can't have a reasonable conversation with somebody who's unreasonable. To me, this guy's unreasonable. He got it on video. The guy stopped him. The guy said he couldn't see the plate. As he got out of the car, he saw the plate was legit. He still had a legitimate reason for stopping him. If the law says a plate must be visible, and he couldn't see the plate, and he's got a video to where it's either partially blocked or maybe blocked or it's got mud on it or whatever, now the stop is lawful. If the cop stops you lawfully, he has a right to lawfully ask for your driver's license, and if you refuse, he can tow your car and arrest you. So, I mean, you can argue who's right, and you can be right in jail, and you can be right in court, and you can be right paying your lawyer, and you can be right losing your guns, and you can be right with all the inconvenience. And if that's what you want to be right about, then knock yourself out. I'm not saying I agree with the cops or the law or the government. I'm telling you what the rules are, and you either say, I ain't playing a game, and go balls to the wall, and if you know you're going to lose, then go out with a bang, or you just play the game and you end up losing in court and money and all this other crap.
You're not free to go. I'd like to make sure you're okay to drive this car.
I'm good to drive this car. I don't consent to anything you.
Okay, so now the cop is kind of like, I got to make sure you can drive the car. Again, normal thing, when you let government expand so much to where they don't have enough crime to keep them busy, all they do is eat donuts and harass good people because they have to feel like they have to justify their job, either to their boss or to the mayor or to somebody. You know, why do I see cops sitting around all the time? Why aren't they out there making traffic stops? I saw somebody drive by me. They were going too fast. Why aren't the cops working? I dealt with that shit on a military base. You got all these freaking, you know, colonels and people with no lives thinking that the cops should go around and harass everybody just because they saw one person speeding. So I get it, but it's bullshit and it's out of control. So this cop is going to play that game, and he's not letting the guy go, and this guy's going to lose.
You have to say, please leave. Please, may I be on my way.
Okay, where are you headed to tonight?
Doesn't matter. It's none of your damn business, dude.
Okay.
Let me go. I'm good to go. You have absolutely no right to have pulled me over, and you're just pushing this thing, and I got stabbed by one of you crap cops, and this freaking DA up here is charging me for it to keep it quiet. All you guys have done is terrorize me, and all you're doing right now.
Okay, who thinks this guy has some pre-existing issues with this county DA, cops, and authority? I mean, this guy is really, and look, I got nothing against this guy. He talks in the front of this here where he shows a picture of the dude, and he shows himself talking, and he's got his mask, and it's I mean, look, the dude's trying to push back in the way he can, and I got no problem with that. My problem is he's going about it, and he's not going to win, and he's just creating himself a lot of grief, and he's not teaching these guys any lessons. He may file a lot of lawsuits, and it may cost him a lot of money, and he may win one. But if your whole life is just to run around and spend time in court and deal with assholes to win one little lawsuit, I mean, that's up to you. It's a free country. He can do what he wants.
Is doing nothing, accomplishing absolutely nothing, and there's no reason for you to be messing with me. All you're doing is eating too much and making that uniform look like crap.
I actually think that's a pretty good line. I thought that was funny as shit. I busted up laughing. All you're doing is eating too much and making that uniform look like crap. That's a great line. I might use that, but that's a pretty good line.
Okay, I'm not messing with you, sir. I couldn't see your license.
Right, so am I free to go?
No, you're not free to go. I'd like to see registration.
Now, see, if the law was changed that once an officer knew that the stop was a mistake, he had to terminate and had no right to go any further, this would not be happening. But that's not the law. The law says once I lawfully stop you, even if I'm wrong, I can get your license, I can check your insurance. If I develop probable cause, I can search you, I can get you out of the car. I can do all these things to impede or mess with you. That's the way the law says. To me, as soon as the stop is considered done, this cop should leave. Either give him a ticket, and I think he could legally give him a ticket right now. Your license plate was not visible. I'm going to give you a ticket. I need your license to write you a ticket. The cop could have done that. The cop kind of, to me, he's an inexperienced, what is he, some sort of trooper? Where does he work? I think he's a fish police. Park ranger. So, I mean, I don't even know why the hell he's making traffic stops anyway. Is that really the job of the park ranger? I thought your job was take part of the park. Oh, well, part of the park, Rick, is to make sure that all drivers are following all laws of all the codes of the vehicle code system, and It's my job. I'm important. I have to do something. I earn a paycheck and I get retirement benefits and good government benefits, and I can't be fired. And I'm here to protect and serve the shit out of all of you pesky citizens and take money. Okay, well, you're doing your job. Good job, boy that's making the uniform look bad.
Driver's license.
I do not consent. I don't consent. I don't consent. There's no reason for you to ask me for that. There's no reason.
Okay, he's saying there's no reason. Just because you say there's no reason doesn't mean there's no reasons. He's wrong. There is a reason. The cop has a lawful, legitimate reason for asking. He can, by the law. If you don't like the law, change it. Bitch at the freaking politicians. Go sit on their door and chew them out. But this cop is following the law, and it's bullshit. I don't agree with it, but it is the law. And he keeps saying, I don't consent. When you get a driver's license and drive on a road, there's some things that you do consent. And part of that consent is you agree to give your driver's license when you're stopped by a police officer. You agree to take a breath test if an officer thinks you're driving under the influence. You agree, you give consent to certain things. You agree to follow all the rules of the road. One of the rules of the road is make sure your license plate is visible. And if it's not visible, you violate the terms of your agreement to get a driver's license. I don't agree with the driver's license. I think it's BS. I think it's state getting money and causing fees and putting restrictions, and idiots out there saying, we need more training for cops. We need more training for drivers. We need more training for everything. You know, I got people on my horse channel saying, the government needs to require training to own a horse. Yeah, that always fixes everything. Get the government involved and get some idiots that don't know shit about a horse to make rules on what you need to do to own a horse, and then you got to pay a license and take their training that they're getting kickbacks from their buddy who's giving the training. Yeah, that always works great when you get government in charge of giving license and requiring training. That's why when idiots call about training for guns or anything else, it's just like, you don't have a freaking clue what happens when you get government involved in stupid shit. They'll make it twice as stupid, cost twice as much. Like I said, the government was in charge of sand. In charge of the Sahara Desert, we'd be out of sand, and there'd be a shortage. And the government would be charging freaking outrageous profit and money for sand because they were in charge of it, because that's what government does.
Reason for you to pull me over, you were erroneous. Ma'am, I'm free to go.
I need to see your driver's
Nope,
license.
am I
and
free to go?
registration
I don't
before you go,
consent.
please.
I don't consent. No,
Okay.
there's absolutely no reason. There is absolutely no reason, pal, for you to ask for that when you were erroneous to pull that over.
Okay.
Am I free to go?
No, I disagree.
Call your sergeant down here.
Okay.
No, I disagree. Look, this cop doesn't really know how to handle this, and that's why he calls the local boys in blue. And then the thin blue line shows up. Like most all park rangers and fish and game and fish cops and, oh, I'm a resource officer, I got the most power in the world, I can search you for nothing, whatever. Freaking fish cops, park police, they all want to be cops, but they're really not cops. They don't really get out there and know the law and go to court and pull people over and give tickets and search and find things. They like to start shit, and then they like to call the guys in blue to come finish their shit. And that's what this guy does.
Call your sergeant down here.
Okay.
Call your sergeant down here. There's no reason for you. You saw that it's erroneous right there. Everything, run my tags, do all that stuff. I don't consent to any reason you doing any of this. I absolutely detest everything in your being right now. Am I free to go?
No, I just need to see your driver's
No,
license.
don't consent. There's absolutely no reason for you to ask for that. Piss off, dude. Straight up, man. Straight up. I'm a combat veteran wounded warrior, and you...
Okay, he keeps throwing this combat vet wounded warrior around like it's some sort of protected class. You know, like if he was black, he could say, I'm black, and you're picking on me because I'm black. Or if he was gay, I'm gay, and you're picking... All those special people that get special rights and privileges. Guess what? Vets don't have that. Wounded warriors don't have that. Disabled people don't have that. Anybody that's worked for a living doesn't have that. The people that have it are the ones that vote for the idiot left. But I digress. Let's get back to this.
You have absolutely no reason. I didn't go to war for you to play Billy Badass like this. Go get your cop. Go get your sergeant. There's absolutely no reason for you to be pulling me over like this. I've been terrorized by the cops in this town, and you're doing your job to step in them shoes. I do not consent to anything. Am I free to go?
Okay, can I ask you how I'm terrorizing you?
Because you pulled me...
Okay, so now this cop is trying to deflect and to talk to this guy and to get this guy talking about shit that doesn't matter. This cop has no intention of letting him go. Why carry on the conversation? Why keep antagonizing? I'll tell you why. Because he's waiting for the guy to slip up. He's waiting for the guy to say something that sounds like it could be, maybe, if fan butts and coconuts, a threat. Ooh, and then I'm in fear of my life. He's waiting for the guy to move into reach so he can feel fear of his life. He's prolonging and extending this stop. Look, he's got a right to write him a ticket. Either write him a ticket, either tell him he's got to give the license or he's under arrest. Do what you need to do. The cop doesn't know. I call him a cop. The park police, fish cop, whatever you want to call him. He doesn't know what he's doing. So he's guessing and he's just trying to prolong the contact.
Over for no reason. Am I free to go?
I pulled you over.
Am I free to go?
No, sir. I need to see your driver's license.
Nope.
and
I know.
registration
I don't
with
consent. Am I free to go?
you. No. Can
I don't
please-
consent. Am I free to go?
Can I ask you one question?
No. You already asked. You already done enough, man. Am I free to go? Ma'am, are you his sergeant?
Nope.
Can you get your sergeant up here?
So now this guy is doing what a lot of people do. I'm not getting anywhere by saying the same thing to this guy. I'll start talking to another cop. Bad tactics, not good, not smart, doesn't help your case, doesn't play well. If you ever get in front of a jury, either civil or criminal, this is not going to make you look like a reasonable person. This is not going to make you look like a victim. It's going to make you look like you're victimizing two officers who are trying to do their job, who are being polite. I'm not saying I agree with it and I take these cops' sides for all you idiots that'll come here and say that. I'm just telling you the way it happens in real life when it finally plays out.
This guy is not complying. He illegally pulled me over. He wants to search and seizure me and my being, and he has absolutely no reason to. Y'all terrorists can take this elsewhere. I'm not consenting.
Okay. If your driver's license is good, I just need to verify.
There is
that.
no reason. Tell me why you need to verify that. I wasn't breaking any law. I wasn't speeding, and you can see that my truck is legitimate. Why do you need to see anything?
Actually, he's wrong again. If his plate wasn't readable because of any obstruction, and I don't know, I haven't seen a plate. He doesn't show a copy of his plate. If he's got a trailer hitch, a lot of people put trailer ball hitches right in front of their license plate, and it blocks the numbers. And I know as a cop, sometimes I want to run a plate because it's a high-risk stolen vehicle, and I think it might be stolen, and it's got a ball and hitch, or it's got shit hanging out the trunk covering it, or it's bent, or it's got a bunch of mud smeared on it like they're trying to conceal it. And that's why the law is that if your plate isn't reasonable, it's probable cause to stop you and identify and confirm the registration and the plate. And when I stop you for any vehicle violations, I have a right to get your license and to find out that you're legitimate because I already have probable cause to contact you. I'm not saying I agree. I'm telling you the law. Don't hate the hater.
You don't. Go. Let me leave. I do not consent. Let me go.
Okay. All I want to do is check that you're good to drive.
I'm good to drive.
Okay.
I do not consent. Let me go.
I don't know.
I don't consent. Let me go.
Okay.
Well, you pulled me over illegally because you could not see the license plate in my thing. Now your story is you don't know if I'm good to drive. Dude, I don't consent. Leave. You're terrorizing me. You're absolutely terrorizing me. Am I free to go?
No.
Who thinks this guy looks terrorized or scared? When you get in front of a jury, the DA is going to be like, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, does anybody think this guy is scared? He has been telling this guy he's fat, he looks like shit, he's not compliant, he's a terrorist. He's called him names, he's talked to the other person, he's talked about the DA, he's talked about everybody. Who, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who, if any of you, think this guy is being terrorized and is fearful? Not me. I don't think he's fearful. I don't think he's fearful at all.
You're
Why
ready
not?
to go.
Why
Okay,
not?
I just need to check, see if
No,
you're good to
I
drive.
do not consent. I am good to drive. I was driving just fine. You pulled me over for a tag violation, not because I was erroneously driving. Dude, you can push this as far as you want to go. You're on video. You're on live uplink, live load. You had better hope, Lee Wachowski, that you are correct because you're...
The fact that he says you better hope you're correct tells me that you know, or you don't know, that you're 100% correct. So, I mean, look, I get what the guy's going. I don't like to cooperate with government. I don't like to make government's job easier any more than anybody else. But there's a way to do it, And there's a way to get your own butt in a jam.
Asking me now that I'm not good to drive my vehicle when you just said that you pulled me over because you couldn't see my tag. Am I free to go?
No, I just need to make
That's
sure the
illegal
license
search
is
and
valid.
seizure. There is absolutely no, you do not need to. There's absolutely no reason for you to. I don't consent. There's absolutely no reason.
See, if this cop knew what he was doing, he would say, look, guy, this isn't a consent thing. You either give me your license or you're under arrest. That's how it goes. I'm going to ask you again. Give me your driver's license. You're required to produce it. If you don't, I'm arresting you. Now give me your license. I don't consent. This is wrong. You pull me over. Dude, I told you, and I'm giving you another chance. Either give me your license or you're under arrest. Dude, this is I don't consent. This isn't. Dude, you're under arrest. Get out of the car. And it's on. I mean, that's what, and you would call me a bootleg jackhammer, but I'm not going to sit out there and be berated by somebody. Now, because this is a simple bullshit stop, which I usually did not make, unless I was looking at a gang member or something, or the car was like 4 deep and they all had their faces covered, gang colors flying everywhere. I don't stop people who are normally legit minding their own business. So if I did by chance stop a guy and I see that this guy is upset and he's obviously got issues and he's a vet and he's a wounded warrior, disabled vet, whatever it is, I'm going to say, look, dude, I'm just going to tell you. I could write you a ticket and I could force this issue and make you give me a license. But you know what? It ain't that big of a deal, and it ain't worth my time and your time. You can take this as a win. I just don't want to fight with you. I'm going to let you go, and you have a nice day. And I'd have walked away. And I would have ended this pretty quick. Because to me, this just ain't worth it. Who the hell wins in this? You think this guy wins? Is he going to go home now and, beat off with his wife and go, man, I showed that guy. I showed him a lesson. He wasn't going to bully me. He wasn't going to make me let him. Cops just don't have they just don't think anymore. You get young cops, and young cops usually don't have enough life experience. I tell a story that one sheriff, he wouldn't hire somebody unless they're like 30 or 40. All of his deputies had to be over like 40 or something. And I was like, damn. But you know what? He felt that cops, until you've dealt with some life issues, until you've dealt with problems, you don't know how to deal and talk to people. And it's too easy for you to go out there and harass people and not understand that they're just people out trying to make a living, going from one place to another. They really don't need to be given shit by government. They don't need to be detained. I got one buddy that works right now for the Highway Patrol, and he's like stopping 30 people a day and getting all these stops. And he's like, but I give them all warnings. I don't write them tickets. I'm like, dude, that's not the point. Nobody wants their day ruined on if they're going to get a ticket. They don't know whether you're a nice guy or a bad guy. It stresses them out. It detains them. It stops them on the side of the road. It gets government in their life. They know they can go off. If they're having a bad day, they may say something they don't. Look, anytime government interacts with you, it's not a good thing, because it can go bad. And 9 times out of 10, probably 1,000 times out of 1,001 times, government's going to win. It's going to cost you money. You're going to end up being stressed, and it's not going to be pleasurable. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So who wants to have contact with government, even if you get a warning? Nobody wants that. So this guy should have just walked away, but he can't. He's in his macho, I stopped you, I got the law behind me, I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm going to prove I'm right.
Okay, then will you provide me with your name and date of birth so I can check?
Nope. Dude, you can run these tags. That's everything right there that you need to do, that are you legal to do, and that you can see through the window like you just said. I do not consent. Am I free to go?
No, sir. It's very simple.
Get your sergeant on the line. I do not consent.
These people who are always asked for supervisors, somehow in the I Hate Cop community, must be a rumor that if you ask for a supervisor, the person must contact and give you a supervisor. Unless they've changed it, or unless there's a policy, I'll give you the number of the PD and you can call and talk to them all you want. Right now, we're dealing with my issue. Don't deflect this. You can talk to them when we're done. Not before, not during, no more than you can say, shut up, I'm calling my lawyer. I got my lawyer on the phone and he says blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't give a shit if your lawyer's on the phone. I got on the phone with maybe 1 or 2 lawyers, and I was like, I ain't doing this shit again. Because they try to play this, well, you know, lawfully, and according to the Fourth Amendment, you are lawfully unlawful seizure, and my client is, and they just want to fucking start trying to double talk you on the phone while you're on a stop, and it's like, you know what? That's the last time I get on the phone with a stupid ass lawyer, because he don't get it. You know, I gave you a courtesy by trying to get on the phone and say, dude, your client's fucking up. You need to tell him to fucking give him his license so we can move on. And instead, you want to play like you're representing his interest, like somehow you're going to trick me in to letting him go because I'm scared that you're a lawyer and you may sue me. Well, you know what? I knew where I stood. I knew what I could do and what I couldn't do. And I didn't really give a shit about what name you dropped or whether you were a lawyer, you weren't a lawyer, or whatever. So, this guy doesn't let it go, and unfortunately, they call the boys in blue.
Do not consent. I do not consent. Am I free to go?
No, sir. If you just let me see your driver's license.
There's no reason for you to do this, dude. Do you know who I... All right, I'll show you something. I'm not...
You are. Okay. Are you carrying? Are there any weapons down there?
Ah! Notice the move in. I have to get a better view. Now when you move your arms, I can say, oh, you almost hit me. Oh, he made a... Your Honor, I was looking in his car because I was nervous of guns, and while he was searching, he immediately spun around in my face with his hand, and when it came to my face, I thought it was a strike. I had to defend myself, which is when I put my hand on him and ripped him out the car. Nothing good comes from prolonging contact with law enforcement.
I get nervous when you move your hands like that.
I don't give a shit if you're nervous.
Take that. That's ID.
So he gives him a card. And because he's going after local corruption and he's kind of after the DA, somehow he thinks this is going to impress this cop to go, ooh, this guy's got a YouTube account and he's a wounded war and he's fighting corruption. Ooh, I better let him go. Who thinks that's going to work? Who thinks after he gives him his card, the cop's going to go, oh shit, man, I didn't know you were against corruption, man. All right, I'm going to let you go. Have a nice day. Raise your hand. You're an idiot if you got your hand up.
Okay.
Now you're trying to get legal, dude. Piss off.
I'm not trying to do anything.
Yep, you are.
But
You
check your driver's license.
Dude, that's my ID right there. Why don't you go look that up?
That is not ID.
Why don't you find out how you're going to wind up on film?
That's fine. I realize.
Threats and intimidation rarely work on law enforcement. That's tip number 142 of this video on what doesn't work.
I'm on film.
Yeah, dude. I do not consent. I do not consent. I do not consent. I do not consent. There is no reason for you to pull me over. You said you saw it now. Now am I free to go?
Your Honor, when I was dealing with the subject, he continually get more aggressive and violent. He was beating on his car with his hands. He was pointing, telling me to go back to my car, putting his hand out the window, getting close to my face. I felt nervous and fearful of my life, and that's why I grabbed him and had to yank him out the window for officer safety. Who thinks that would fly? Of course it would fly. If you don't think that would fly, you're crazy. You can sit here, well, it's not the law, and he was right, and I got the law. Yeah, guess what? You're still yanked out of the car, and you're still going to jail.
No, sir.
Don't consent. Get your sergeant on the line. Get your sergeant up here. Get your sergeant up here. Get your sergeant up here.
In the meantime, if you just let me see your driver's license and I check it.
Who thinks when this goes to court that the jury, the DA will be saying, the officer remained professional, he never cursed, he never threatened, he was very polite, he always stood in a non-confrontational position, and the officer tried everything that he could to get this guy to comply. Before they yanked him out of the car, he resisted arrest, they tased him and beat him and broke his arm, and now he's booked for assault on a peace officer. This officer did everything he could to try and handle this peacefully, and the mean, pesky citizen who was pulled over for a bullshit traffic stop is the one that caused all this. That's the way it'll play out, people.
You have a valid driver's license.
He almost suckered the cop into reaching in the car right there. Watch the cop's initial reaction to stop. This is when cops reach in cars when you try to drive away and grab the keys. This is when they reach in a car. It's instinctive. It's almost like, shit, I gotta stop. And then the cop caught himself and didn't do it.
If you just let me see your driver's license and I check that you have a valid driver's license.
More points for the cop in front of the jury. Even though he rolled up his window, and the officer could have been fearful that he was reaching for a gun or going for something or destroying evidence, and the cop could have easily justified exigency to break that window or stop that window or to open the car and yank that guy out the car. Even though the officer could have done all that, he didn't. He was trying to handle this peacefully. He was trying to treat the pesky citizen with respect. Actually, this is probably should have been done at the very first. As soon as he said, "I don't consent," and he had made a stand, had he just rolled up the window at the very first thing, it would have been a much better move. His whole prolonged contact of yelling and arguing and insulting and threatening and giving him his card and telling him he's going to be sued and calling for his supervisor and all that shit made his case worse.
At this point, Lachowski retreats to call his local goons to intimidate and coerce me with bizarre threats.
I don't care about Texas. You're in Pennsylvania. You need to have a Pennsylvania driver's license.
This is going to go one of two ways: the easy way or the hard way. The
I
easy
don't
way
consent to this.
is you cooperate with them. The hard way is you're going to go to jail today.
Watch these
Are you
fat
gonna
fucks
listen to
suppress
me?
me.
Are you gonna listen
No,
to
man,
me?
you're a little chip.
So now he insults this guy, and who thinks that's going to help you not get arrested? What do you call him,
Hard
little
way
piggy
is you're going to go
chipmunk?
to jail today.
Watch these
Are you
fat
gonna
fucks
listen to
suppress
me?
me.
Are you gonna listen to
man,
me?
you're a little chipmunk. Look at your face.
Okay, so personal insults never go over well when you go to jury trial. It never goes over well when you try to sue somebody. And it really hurts your case to find a lawyer to represent you, because when a lawyer sees that, he's like, I got a client that can't, control his mouth. And I'm not saying this guy is bad or evil. Shit, I'm with him. I'm glad he's pushing back. I'm just not sure what his goal is, because I don't think his goal is winning, because I don't think he's going to win. Maybe he will, and I hope he does. I mean, I'd love to see this guy get $1 million from this and teach him a lesson, but I just don't think that's happening. All right, we'll end that there. I know I went long, but don't go hating on me. Don't go hating on this guy. Here's his video if you want to watch the whole thing without me. There's his website or a YouTube account, and I'll go ahead and throw him a sub. He's a vet. Throw him a like, and we'll end that there.